I ran out of plastic knives and I don't want to go to the store. But these don't work anywhere near as good. That is way too much glue. Really thin. Mostly sand. Here is the original riser design that came with the kit and the plans from Bingham Projects when I got this thing in high school in like 2006. And it's supposed to be a 19-inch riser. And if we check the bolt holes length, just like you would on an ILF riser. Some days I wish I was left-handed. Okay, so if we check that length, straight line distance, so there's about the center, and there's about the 13. All right. So overall total, tip to tip, 19. Okay. So here's my design, my kind of hybridized design that I drew out a few years ago. The limb pad angles are 20 degrees. They're the same. The length of my riser is 17 inches. And pin to pin, is 11. So then we come over to the form. There's the cutoff line. And here are the lines. I know that you're supposed to use a dowel pin for an index pin, but I just knock a couple of finish nails in there and it works fine. There's the measurement that should give me a 60-inch AMO bow. So you go here and then you cut off a 1/4 inch. Or if you wanted a 58, you go here and then you cut off a 1/4 inch, and etc. So there's the original layout from all those years ago. 58 mark, 60 mark, 62 inch mark. On a 19-inch riser, should give me 60-inch bow on a 17-inch riser. Piece of hickory scrap that I resawed using that, which is sketchy. Hang on. Cutting a perfectly good riser block in half. It's not bad. It's not perfect. I think it'll be okay. Heat gun, dry clamp, glue it up tomorrow. Let's see, let's put you somewhere where you won't melt. Yeah, like I said, not perfect, but not too bad. Little flat right there. Couple of gaps. I ran out of paper. Turn it off. Now I'm gonna have to figure out how to edit with a bleep noise. just too, because the glass always tears. Well, that's gonna have to work. A little off center, but. Not bad. So the first hole is by my thumbnail on the right, and it wasn't quite on. I had to file it a little bit, which kind of bums me out. Second hole was much better. That one's dead on, and that one looks like it's just a teensy weensy bit up and left, but they're in now, so I'm gonna have to live with it. So if you saw my wooden ILF riser build, you've seen me do this next part before. We're gonna take these double threaded inserts and run them in the holes, a little bit of epoxy on them. I started them on each end, that's why it's splitting a little bit. So that setup right there is as closest to getting them all dead nuts as I've ever had. So a lot better than what I've done in the past, even though it's not perfect. But anyway, epoxy on the threads, in the holes. We'll do the pins tomorrow because that's going to take some wiggling around and stuff. I'm going to shape the tips and probably be done for the day. Got the pins glued in. They're a little wonky, but it holds the limb square, so that's all that really matters. I have left this surface flat through the entire process using that to keep things square, but what I need to do now is cut the sight window in, and that'll be the last thing I do with the back of the riser block flat. So sight window gets cut in, and then I'll finish shaping the riser. super rough, but that's as good as I can get it with the bandsaw. I stayed well outside the lines on everything, so we can take it to the little bench grinder and do some rasping and use these chisels. We'll get there. Just take some time. Okay, so here's where we're at. Radius the shelf, everything's rounded off and comfortable. Got some bevels that I've just started to round off. I'm just doing all that by hand with a pair of files instead of the sander on the drum. I just don't want to screw up and accidentally take too much. Last night was not a good night. We had to say goodbye to our little collie, Jack. So he passed away. I don't really feel like doing this, to be honest, but it's better than just sitting around. So just gonna take my time, make sure I don't screw it up. But that's all I'm doing is I made some flats with the wee little cheap bench grinder. Oops, sorry. And I'm just rounding the flats off. And when we get that done, we will begin the endless sanding process. See you in a bit. Breakfast of champions. So what do we have left to do? Basically, we are just down to sanding and stuff. I want to profile the limb butts so like they match the riser where it comes up, and then I want to sand them. I need to sand the back edge. I beveled the front edge, so that needs sanded a little bit. The string knocks need cleaned up, and I need to make the grooves on the back of the limbs. Yeah, so just endless sanding. If you look really close, I think it's the top limb. One of these isn't quite flush. That one. It's not quite flush. There, you can see my green shirt between it. And when I string it, it rocks and the gap goes over here. So that means this alignment pin hole isn't quite deep enough, and it's riding on top of the pin instead of just holding it. So we need to fix that. But let's string it up, draw it, and get a weight. All right. 8.5 inch brace height. Try to get it in frame for the first couple of pulls. All right, let's get a draw weight. I only have a 26 inch draw. Somewhere clear back here is 28, so we'll try both. 26 inches first. $43 twice. $43. $44. $43. So it's probably 45 pounds at 28 inches. I'm going to draw it back here once, but I'm almost confident it's 45 at 28. $46. $44. $44. $45. So yeah, 45 pounds at 28 inches. Because I think 28 is somewhere around here on me. We'll take it. I know I said that it's time to sand, but the string's on it. So we kind of have to shoot it. I'm gonna put you downrange. Target. You should be safe here. Oh, geez. Okay, I've been over it with 80 grit and 120 grit so far, and then I got it, put a little bit of water on it just to lift up the grain a little so I can feel that it's rough or fuzzy. So one more time with 120, then I've got one sheet of 220, and we'll go down to 320 on that. Should be putting finish on this thing in a couple hours. $220. $320. Almost home. Only been here forever. This is my least favorite part. Okay, that's enough. Let's put some finish on it. That looks pretty good. On the limbs, I just go around the exposed wood with that Danish oil. I'll try to show you out in the sunlight when I'm done. Okay, so it's been almost 72 hours. Not a full 72 hours just yet, but close enough. The Danish oil, I always manage to get it on the limb somehow. I don't know if you can see. It doesn't really cure to the fiberglass, it just kind of makes it sticky. There, that's a good picture of it. And you can see it's not really cured, it's just this smudge. So, we're going to take the rubbing alcohol and wipe it all off the glass. Buff the glass down with some steel wool, 4-aught, and then we'll be ready for poly. So I bought these AMO inserts for that ILF riser that I built, and then I ended up putting a stabilizer insert in that one instead for my Zebco 808. So I think I'm going to use them, these AMO inserts on here. They're just the tap-in kind. What I'm trying to do is get them in the meatiest part of the riser. But I started that curve a little higher than maybe I should have. I don't really want this one to go past the butt of the limb, but I'm not sure why I don't want that. I don't know, it doesn't look right when they're way up here. So right now I'm trying to line up this top one with the edge of the limb butt. Close enough, probably. And then these are supposed to be exactly 1.312. So about like that, which leaves me reasonably, like it's right where that curvature starts, so I'm pretty sure I've got enough. I know I have enough up here. I think that's going to work. These things don't have a standard height. It's like, I don't know, the internet said 1.5 to 3 inches, and I'm probably right at 2 inches above the shelf. I think that looks pretty good. I think I've got them where I want them, so I'm just going to try to mark them with a colored pencil, because I can rub that off of the wood now that this Danish oil has set. I think that's where we're going to put them. We'll put a little 5-minute epoxy on them and tap them in, and then we should be able to spray poly over that. It's a 7/32 drill bit. Definitely should have been a quarter. And they look a little cockeyed. Oh well, can't do anything about it. We'll try to clean them up with a little sandpaper. I just hope it's parallel to the string. Until they look wet, then stop. those clamps without the little rubber protectors makes a nice mark in the leather, and then you pull a clamp off, mark it with a gel pen, and then cut. And with rubber cement, you can make a layer on the leather and stick it where you want it, and then yoink it off real quick. It just doesn't adhere to the polyurethane finish right away. And then the second time that you make a layer of rubber cement, it sticks good. But we needed to do that so that we didn't have any wrinkles or bubbles in the leather. And now what we're going to do is go punch holes, and then we're going to do a baseball stitch, I think. Artificial sinew, we got a great big piece of it, and then should use 2 of these half moon needles, but I broke one and I don't want to go buy another one, so I'm going to try to get it done with a single one of those and a straight one. Very happy with the way this turned out. I think it looks great. It shoots nice. There is one little scuff under the finish on the glass right there. That's my fault for not taping the glass. But I mean, you can't ask for anything else. And I think it's gorgeous. So anyway, as you can see, it doesn't take a whole lot of tools. A little bit of determination and some elbow grease, and you too can build your own bow. That was Bingham Projects' slogan, and I remember reading it in my dad's old magazines, and I don't know, man, I got the bug. I love building these. Anyway, enough rambling. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Scrape some materials together and give it a try yourself. You'll be glad you did. Thanks.